Welcome to the Soul Tribe Podcast. The Soul Tribe Podcast was created to help you navigate through the world of spirituality, wellness, and self-development in an easy, grounded, and relatable way. We break down everything from the Akashic Records, manifesting, spirituality, and so much more. We want to help expand your boundaries and bring the spiritual world to you in a fun and easy way. Get ready to be inspired with tips, tools, and easy to digest information. Let's do this.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Soul Tribe Podcast. Today's episode, we're trying out something a little bit different. So we've decided that we wanted to use the Akashic Records in an even grander way of receiving and messages and helping others around us. The Soul Tribe Podcast, part of the idea of the podcast was to help others, even though we're not complete experts on life, but I think no one is. That's why we're all here living, right, and having experiences of human beings. But still, we utilize the Akashic Records and assisting readings with others to try to help them. And so Lauren and I were trying to find a way to outreach more individuals and help more, and that's how the Soul Tribe Podcast was created, one of the many conversations and ideas. But then we said, okay, what's the next step? What's the next thing that we can do to continue to help, because this podcast is growing and we have way more listeners than we have first started, which we love because that means that people are liking what we have to say and it's helping them, right? The whole idea is for all of us to feel united, connected, and just feel better, right? More centered, more aligned with self, whatever it is that you need. But so the next step was, okay, well, we started the podcast, it's growing. How can we continue to help on a grander scale? And that was interviewing individuals that were more specific to new tools and things that those out there might not know about, and maybe finding out about a certain tool that might be able to help you in whatever struggle you have. But then what's the next step after that? And that was, let's open up the Akashic Records for the podcast, the Soul Tribe Podcast. What does this really mean? This means that we're opening up the Akashic Records of a common thought or community that all the listeners of the podcast, right? And we're going to try to ask questions and channel information. Some of it might resonate highly with you, but because you're part of that community, some of it might not be so focused for you, but other parts may make sense to you or may help you make a decision or follow through with something that you're struggling with. But whatever it is, we're just going to ask some general questions and try to receive healing messages that will help you feel better, connected, and more aligned with your life and your soul plan, your soul contract. So we've already done the process of opening the records, which they're already open. And we're going to start with the first question. So Lorena, maybe you want to ask the first question that we're asking the records?
Yeah, I just want to kind of say something before we go into channeling information, which we kind of already are in a way, but it's a big year that's coming. And I think a lot of us feel like something new is starting and that we're going to, like, something big is coming. And I feel like that's kind of the way a lot of people are feeling at the moment. So we felt that it was important to channel information because it might help you in some way. So I just wanted to kind of say that, and yeah, like, we're here for all of you, and this is the whole purpose of the podcast, right? To be able to help each other and to be there for each other. Okay, so the first question that we came up with, and mind you, we can do these every once in a while, so we'll definitely like do this on social media where we'll send out kind of like a poll and you guys can send us your questions. But for now, the first question is, what is the purpose of the podcast and the Soul Tribe community?
Can I jump in first? Can I go first?
Yeah, I'm already getting stuff, but you can go first.
Because I'm like struggling to like hold back. So because before we started recording, we both brainstormed questions to ask the Akashic Records of the Soul Tribe Podcast. And they made me, at some point, I put down, instead of writing, because I got lazy, instead of writing Soul Tribe Podcast all the way, I put STP, and they made me look at it and circle it. And I'm like, stop, STP, stop. So that's the first thing that they wanted to make sure that I said to communicate in this episode. It's the Soul Tribe podcasts. The initials that we always use, you and I, by coincidence, because we don't do TSTP. And even the website, when I coded it doing STP with some files and stuff. I would name it STP. And so the whole thing is stop. And what they're saying about stop is that everybody has this in common, not only just the Soul Tribe podcast, but almost more than half of the people, the beings that are living, they're incarnated on Earth right now, have this necessity to rush, this need to get somewhere fast. I'm planning my next vacation. I'm planning the next family. I'm gonna have a baby. I'm gonna get married. I want to move. I want a better job, which is great because it means that we're driven and we're trying to improve ourselves. And sometimes it also means that we're connected to our higher plan or our life contract. But what they want to achieve with messages is STP, which stop. It's stop, breathe, connect, and just be. Because what is the whole point of you being incarnated? And these are the messages speaking from the masters, right? What is the whole point of you being incarnated in this body and having a human experience, a life experience, if you're not able to be present right now? And so STP is the main thing, is to help your brain stop and go, let me be aware. There needs to be awareness, a worldwide awareness, and it's starting with individuals that are helping to wake up other people. No one's a professional, and no one knows exactly how to do everything perfectly, but that's why we're human. We're all that way. So what they're trying to do is stop us in our tracks, our overthoughts, and help us be more present so we can live a more conscious life. And conscious life is like very firm for them. Conscious life.
Awesome. The first word that I got was unity, the unity of a collective, the unity of souls. This is why we were gravitating, and I think the name came up for you, Lucia, was soul. Like, this is all about our soul calling, our souls reaching a place where we can, they're saying gravitate or levitate. It's like where we can be at a higher level, where we can reach that place of unity, understanding, a collective, basically, where we feel accepted, where we feel connected, and where we feel like we're not alone, where people understand us. And that's what we're moving towards. That's what everything is moving towards. An awakening, a living a more balanced, more healthy, I guess, life in a way. I don't think healthy, because health can mean a lot of things for different people, but it's the unity of souls, the unity of information, of, I think a lot of it that's coming through right now for me is not feeling alone. Because I feel like we're in a moment right now where, like you said, we're go, 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 go. And we tend to disconnect from people, from things, from the people around us. And it's easy to disconnect sometimes because there's so many distractions and things going on. But at the same time, they want us, our job, Lucy and I's job, they're saying, is to connect people to themselves and to connect people to other people, because this is what the whole reason of the podcast is about. Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in there. So they're giving us they're showing me a frame of what follows, right? Like a line. So it's stop, consciousness, and the next step was what you said, which is unity, raise vibration. And that's so this is a whole part of a bigger plan. But like you had said, it's the unity, it's everybody coming together. That's way more forceful than, like, now that they're showing it to me, I'm seeing it. It's way more forceful than I could imagine, because even, let's say that this podcast only had 5 listeners, right? Those 5 listeners, even though we're not aware as human beings, have a raise in vibration, maybe even like a tiny bit, but then they're connected somehow with each other without knowing, and they could be in totally different parts of the world, but their energy and that little tiny nudge up in vibration connects with each other, and that raises the vibration of the things around them, even if it's a tiny bit. And so, like you said, those are the steps. Stop, conscious, unite, ascend. And in this case, it's ascend in vibration, ascend in frequency. And that's the key, because this is going to carry on into the whole. There's missions. Everything has missions, right? Not only souls have missions, but also the Mother Earth in a totality has its own life, its own plan, and every year it brings a new mission. Countries have their own missions. Each individual have a mission, and that's why you're attracted to certain countries, because your mission meshes very well with the mission of that country, right? And so also the whole entire planet Earth has a mission, and the year that's coming, and we're already jumping into question 2 here, Lo. Sorry, I'm getting ahead, but they're like bringing me there. Yeah. What should we all expect for 2020 and the Soul Tribe podcast in general? So they're bringing me to the next question right away, which is the unity, the whole earth in 2020. There needs to be a raise in vibration. Now, I can't have 5 gurus around the world, and these are the masters saying, I can't have the 5 gurus around the world that are, speaking up, taking out books, but they can't reach everybody. And so we need non-professionals. And what they mean by professionals doesn't mean that certain people are professionals and others are not. What they mean is those are individuals with really old souls, very elevated. They're usually, when they disincarnate, they're usually masters. So when they move up, their level of ascension is much higher than what yours or mine would be. But they're utilizing the energies of individuals who are medium level energy or medium level ascension to help the unity. That's creating an amazing life plan for everybody, because it's going to help raise all those that accept the vibration and connect with it will be able to disincarnate and also elevate a bit higher. And then those individuals who said, I will take that job, which is, for example, you and me, or anybody who's trying to help raise awareness. It could be a yoga teacher. It could be someone working in a medical field who's helping someone in a way that's amazing. Like anybody who's decided to take on the challenge of trying to unite or help humanity in some sort of way, their conscious levels will also be raised even more, and they also will be elevated even higher when they disincarnate. What does that mean? That means that this is a plus for everybody, right?
Yeah. For 2020, what came to me was, and I don't know why this came right now. I don't remember what episode it was. It was you with the little lights, the globe with the lights and everything lighting up, and I'm getting like goosebumps.
Yes, I keep seeing that while I was talking. Yes.
Seeing that as well. It's like we're just this little light with a podcast, and it's not just about the podcast. It's the listeners are such a huge and crucial part, they're saying, to this whole equation, because if we don't have that one, even just one person listening to light, like shine their light and to connect someone else, it's like this big grid of people connecting lights, and it's just going to expand so in such a way that it's impossible for everybody around you. It's like this, it's like a virus, they're saying. It's like this virus that just expands, but in like the nicest and most beautiful way for people to wake up and to live their purpose. Because it's not just about this podcast. It's way bigger than this. It's about the people. It's about the people that are listening, they're saying. It's about the people that can connect with the people in their own lives, like you were saying. It's all about that. So the right people are listening at the right time, and the right people are going to arrive at the right time to listen to the message that they need to hear, and then they will pass that on to the next person, and they will raise their vibration, and they will grow, and they will elevate, and that will continue on and on and on. And it might not stay within the podcast. It might be that person goes on to listen to or go to a seminar and listen to somebody speak about a different topic, and then that'll expand. So it's like this ball that just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling, and it just keeps growing. But the expectation for 2020 is that it's the unity, because that grid of light, that ball of light, that little lights shining, and that one lights up the next, is about that. It's the unity, because without the unity, there's no way we can connect. We can't connect, and it won't grow. And it's not about the podcast. It's about the elevation, like you said, the elevation, the growing, the spirituality of it all.
Yeah. That totally, yes, exactly. Yes. Okay, so let's go to the next question. What common struggles um, does the audience members have, and what is it here to teach them? So what common struggles do we all have? Well, the first thing that they bring me to is that they bring me to numbers, which are years. So it's we were just talking about 2020. So they're bringing me back and bringing me backwards to 2010. And they said what most individuals will have in common was that before 2010, we were all there was like a lack of inspiration, it was a lack of motivation, and there was a lack of connection. And so that's all the way up to 2010. And then 2010, the masters, with other light beings that were incarnated, began a bigger plan was to slowly awaken, and the word is awaken in this case, because 2020 is the word comes to me as consciousness, and 2010 the word is awaken, because we were sleeping, it's like they showed me like a gray inside, like it just there was no light, there was no light. It's just that's the word I keep using, right? So up until 2010, that's what happened, and then the first grand plan for the awakening started from 2010 on. It was going to carry on all the way to 2020, so it's in plan now. And then the plan for 2020 is raise consciousness and vibration. So that's what we all have in common. We all went through a stage of lack of inspiration, lack of motivation, and it's like there's not enough drive for us to feel connected. There's not drive for us to feel motivated enough to go for our dreams. And that's why it's not a coincidence that you see a lot of individuals dropping old job positions or dropping old studies and picking up things that they feel more connected with. That's all part of the change that started in 2010. And on top of that, you have individuals who are deciding to put themselves first, ending relationships, ending marriages, separating from individual family members that were negative, which they decided, you know what, they're my blood relative, but I do not have to be next to them all day long and listen to their negativity and feel their negative vibration. I'm going to put myself first. So there's a whole different aspects to every individual and what it is that they started cutting off. And they show me like someone like sawing down a tree, like a lumberjack kind of thing. Like they're cutting the connections or ties to whatever it is that was bringing their energy level and their lack of motivation. They're cutting it down. And so that transpired all 2010 all the way to now. It was all that the cutting, the lumberjack cutting.
Yeah, what comes to me is they say cutting the cord with old beliefs, with old ways of thinking, with old ways of doing things, and that 2020 will be basically for the audience, it's going to be a time of doing things in a completely different way and to gain new beliefs, new understandings, and new ways of living life. That's what it is. So I think we had said common struggles or lessons that the audience have in common, and what it is there to teach them. And what I get with that is that they don't have to do what they were already doing. So that's kind of a repeat of what I just said. You don't have to continue living the life you were living. That this podcast, in a way, is waking individuals up to see things in a different way. I think I'm repeating a little bit of what I just said, but it's a new way of living. It's a new way of seeing things, and it's a new way of, they're saying, believing in yourself and believing that you're not weird, or, and there's like air quotes, you're not weird, you're not strange, you're not different because you believe in certain things and people around you don't. It's okay. It's time to wake up. It's time to see things in a different light, and it's time to believe in what you want to believe in, not what other people make you believe in. That's the lesson, and that's what they want people to carry over to 2020, to let go of that fear, to let go of the limiting beliefs that they have within themselves and within the structure of society. To let that go, because that no longer serves anybody, especially not anybody connected or elevated.
That's really funny that the way you said that, because while you were doing that, I wanted to make sure I didn't forget what they were saying, so I was writing it down. And while you were talking about the person, like, you said, sorry, I was like channeling the information. I wasn't totally listening to you, but
Okay.
I can put myself first. That was the number one thing they made me write down. The second one is, I am me. I'm not who you expect me to be. I'm just who I'm here to be. And so the big message they want to get out there is, I am genuine to myself and who I am. So what does that mean? Yourself, in the case, the way they use it is yourself is you that are charging you, all those things that might change your mood or change the way you see the world or feel about the world. That is your genuine self when you're not feeling those things and connecting with those things. Okay, guys, Lorena is going to be editing this episode, so this is going to jump in at some point, but something really funky started happening where like I was in the middle of following up on what Lorena had said, and we're both recording on applications on our computer and at the same time recording on Skype. The two applications that we're both using with Lorena are totally independent from self. Like, oh, sorry, I'm still channeling. It's crazy. I'm like trying to talk and like not channel information. Wait, this is crazy. Okay. It's totally independent from each other's computers. Yet I was in the middle of giving a message and our Skype kind of like blurred out or stopped. And both of our garage bands, the applications, both of our garage bands gave us the same error and stopped recording us. Okay, so what I want, I'm going to, let's ask the masters, the guides of the Soul Tribe podcast, if that's something that we should be aware of and why. They want everybody to know that they're channeling through us information for everybody, and that timing out of everything was them just going, hey, this is really us, we're really here, and we can help you control things. And so that's part of all the mission from 2010, 2020, and all of our lives incarnated, right? We're not alone. We're assisted with a bigger plan, a grander plan, which is us and everybody around us. And they can stop us in our tracks and wake us up in certain different ways. And in this case, they decided to tap into our application and our Skype during the Soul Tribe podcast message, because they just wanted to show you, hey, we have a lot of power to help you guys out, and that's what we're doing, and that's what this podcast is for. And so that was just their like physical way of showing, we're really here, we're really talking to you, we're really listening to you, ask us whatever it is that you want. So they're saying, do not be afraid to ask. You always have to go out of your way and stop and go, I really feel like I need this for myself. I'm not being selfish if I feel like I need this. Let me stop and ask assistance to obtain it, or let me help to get assistance in understanding what I'm going through, or whatever it is that you want to ask about. So long as it isn't a material aspect of your life that you don't really need. That's important for you to understand. You're not going to go and ask for a house that's worth, $2 billion. Like, that's not something you really need. They're here to assist you in whatever it is that's going to help you create part of your karmic lessons, create an overview of, I'm trying to describe what I'm getting. So they're trying to help you create a better karmic plan for the next life that you're gonna incarnate into, because we're all here kind of learning pending lessons from past lives, but we're also here to help create a better situation for the next one, because they're looking into that. Even though we don't think about that, they're our masters, and they care for us, and they care for our souls, and they do look into that stuff for us. So they're trying to help us elevate to the next step, even better, even grander.
It was a calculated interruption, they're saying. It was.
Oh, I like the way they said that.
Yeah, it was a calculated interruption, because it was kind of like a snap out of it, but at the same time keep channeling. But it made us stop and kind of recalibrate what we were saying to people.
Okay, wait, can I ask you what the master said? Did it make you STP?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. But it was definitely calculated, and that was one of the weirdest things.
That was a little scary. It's like
I was like, what are these weird messages? But it kept going. It kept going, and then you froze completely. I heard nothing of what you said, so I didn't even hear that message. So I have no idea what you said. I'll have to go back and listen to that. And then all of a sudden I see these things pop up. I click OK, and then we're both like, looking at each other like on Skype and like, what's going on right now? That was weird.
That was a lesson you know what? That was a lesson for me, because you know what's the first thing I thought when it cut off? I said, I'm channeling information incorrectly. I'm saying it out the wrong way for everybody to connect with it. And I thought they were stopping me in my tracks so I would connect better with them. But it was actually them saying, we're connected with you. And so that's another big lesson that we all have. And so they're bringing me to the next point. That they wanted to get conversation flowing. So the best way to do it is, like they said, stop, STP, stop. That's like our new thing, STP. Stop and don't overthink. Just do, just be, just exist, just be present, just live. And so the next thing is, oh, I lost it.
There's a lot of, yeah.
It's too much. There's too much coming in.
Yeah.
Too much coming in.
So we were in question 3, correct? Or did we move on to? No, we didn't.
What were we just? Sorry, Lorena. What was I just talking about?
I think we just went on a tangent, basically. So we were talking about the struggles and lessons, because I think a lot of this they're saying is for people to hear, and a lot of these messages.
I'm sorry. Can I stop you?
Go.
I got it again. Oh my God, this is awful. I got it again. Before I lose it, I keep losing it and coming back. Insecurities. We all have insecurities, and we're all fearful of being disconnected from something grander than ourselves, or being connected with the loved ones around us, or something even more elevated, which is, if you believe in God or whatever you believe in, the universe, guides, spirits, angels, archangels, whatever it is that you're connecting with. Sometimes we're fearful that we're disconnected from that, and so this was part of it. They made me question for a second. Oh no, maybe I was communicating it in a way that people weren't gonna connect with, but it was them saying, stop questioning, just stop. And it was I would bring this into the conversation for everyone to hear, right? That they shouldn't question themselves, believe in themselves. And that goes all to being, what I had said before everything cut off, being genuine, listening actually to yourself, and don't let others' judgment or perspectives or reality tap into your train of thought, tap into your plan, and change things for you. You know what your thoughts are, and if they're pure and if the intentions are right. And if they are, then you're connected with source and you're not wrong.
And what came to me there was trust. The big message for 2020 is trusting not only yourself, but trusting everything that comes into your life to be there at the right time and at the correct moment for you to grow and to expand and to elevate. I think trust is something that a lot of the listeners, at least that's what they're showing me, is something that each one of the listeners, including ourselves, and that is why we're good people, or good examples to show and to inspire with trust, because we've had to trust ourselves so much and in such a way to be able to speak about these things and to bring people on and for them to talk about it, that we trust that their message is aligned with us and with the group and with the people that are going to listen to this. So trust yourself, trust that you're making the decisions that are correct for you, and don't let other people don't allow other people to come in and change the way you feel, because it's not even about the way you think, it's the way you feel. It's the way you are living your life and the way that you go about making any decision or doing anything, or even just, they're showing me like the silliest things, like it could be the way you go to work, the way you talk to people, the way that you feel when you're like, I don't know, we talk about this a lot, washing dishes. Like, you can do things any way you want and trust that whatever you're doing is correct. And if you trust, you will be able to elevate and grow.
That's I think it's important that you said that, because I myself have that where I'm like, man, I shouldn't be that way, or I should improve this in myself, or this should be better in me. I'm constantly thinking about things that I think I need to improve about myself, and that's me questioning myself all the time. And well, I'm not perfect like everyone else, or, in this world, but it becomes a problem when you start questioning yourself a little bit too much, because it kills your insecurity. It becomes insecurity. It kills your confidence, and it starts affecting your connection with with your plan and yourself and all the grand things that you're here to do. Because even though our missions, usually you get people that come and the masters are giving me the examples of people that I've get readings on, and they ask like, oh, what am I here to do? What's my purpose with my mission, right? And we all expect a really big answer, something amazing. And it's usually something simple like, you're just here to learn to love, or you're just here to learn patience, or it's usually really our purpose and our tasks and our lessons are usually something very simple, but they're hard.
Yeah, they're hard because they're hard for us because of things that we've already gone through in another life, or that we've had to learn as something that's happened in our childhood. But just gonna go back because I just got the message while we were talking. They're saying this human feeling of insecurity is linked in so many ways to the lack of trust that we have, the lack of trust in what we're feeling. And I keep going back to the feelings more so than our thoughts, because our thoughts we can somehow not control, but we can learn to control them. But we can control what we feel. Feeling is everything. So if you can learn to trust how you feel, you can start to kind of push away that insecurity within us. And that they keep pointing out that this insecurity is something very human. Our souls don't feel insecure. Our soul knows exactly what we need to do and exactly the way we need to do it, and how our life can transcribe in a very like perfect way for the life that we've come to live here. But if we allow that lack of trust to take over, then we're only hindering the elevation that we need to get to. So they just want us to trust ourselves. That's the number one thing for 2020, and for
Perfect.
from now forward.
Yeah. So just a quick thing to go back to what had happened. The masters, because I kept thinking, man, if you look at it from the outside, my mind was thinking, if you look from the outside, it could even look like they can manipulate things, or they can manipulate us to go a certain direction. And the masters kind of corrected me and were like, it's not manipulation, Lucia. It's not manipulation. It's us helping you get back on track and hearing what it is you need to hear. And the master said, you opened up the Soul Tribe podcast, Akashic Records, because you wanted to receive the messages that those individuals out there needed to listen to. You guys were controlling the questions, so you guys were controlling what information they could receive. We took back the control for those individuals, and we did not manipulate for you guys to speak about something new. We helped you channel the correct information for each and every individual that's out there and that what they need to hear. And then, like you, I'm getting the goosebumps. They're connecting right now.
I
really
love
hard
that.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Sandra would say that I'm always negative, that I always go to like distrusting. I always go, no, what you meant to do was this, or what this person meant to do. I always like think I expect the worst of situations and things, right? And so that's what I did here. I did that with the Akashic Record. I said, oh, they're manipulating the reading. They're like, no, Lucia, not manipulating. I know, but it's like that's the human. That's me not
that's
being.
Your ego.
Yeah, exactly. That's me not being connected.
And we all have that. And that's, I'm not going to say like that's the best thing, but it's normal. Like it's something that we can expect from time to time, but it's a struggle, I think, with the Akashic Records, being a reader, because it's like we want to let go of the ego completely, but at the same time, the ego is there trying to think, I want to help this person in the best way possible. And you don't want to get that involved with the messages that come through, and you don't want to control it. You just want it to flow with whatever they need to hear. And I think in that sense, like us writing these questions we'll have to try it in a different way where people can ask their questions. But I think the next question, which is the one that we wanted to go to, which I think is like a broader question, is what message or messages do the masters have for the Soul Tribe podcast listeners?
We have already put them through. That's basically what they're saying to me. We have already put them through. We wanted them to talk. They wanted us to talk and for them to hear about connecting with self, what to expect, and trust. Like you'd said, trust was a big part of it.
Yeah, the trust for, and they're saying it's not. I think a lot of people, well, at least this is what they're saying. A lot of people think, oh wow, 2020, or like the same thing with like when it was like the year 2000. It's like, wow, like everything's going to change. There's going to be like this before and after. And it's like, it's not that,
no,
it's not that serious. It's not that big. It is huge, the shift that's happening, but not big in the sense of it's like a light switch. You don't turn it on and off. It's a gradual ascension of energy, of awareness, of awakening, which we just need to keep going and going and going up, up and up. And that's what this year is going to be about, a quicker way of getting higher and elevating. And that we all need to be aware of that, because there's going to be a lot of energy shifts, a lot of things going on. They're saying a lot of things are going to happen, but not in a way where it's like a light switch. It will happen, and there'll be spikes of energy and spikes of ascension and spikes of people awakening. It's going to be very different from this year that we've lived, but it's going to be amazing. That's what I get.
While you're talking, they're talking to me about truth and trust, right? So trust is we already talked about, but truth, the two T's for 2020, truths will come out, which means that lies will be uncovered. Why does that happen, or why is that going to happen? Because, and like we said, it's not going to be this big switch, this big change. It's how they show it to me is like, it looks like a tuning dial where they go, dook, and they just very little tiny gradually bring up the frequency of certain individuals on Earth, which will expand to other individuals on Earth, which we had talked about in the beginning, right? It's just a little nudge in frequency, but that little nudge in frequency will create awakenings for hundreds, thousands of people, right? And so that nudge is going to do that. And those awakening people can hopefully, and that's the plan, will, like you had said, it's like a grid around the world. And that person that awoke a little bit will wake the people around them, and those people around them, and blah, 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 right? So all that. And that tiny raise in frequencies will uncover a lot of lies that have been, covered up for a long time, or family secrets, the things that are traumatic to individuals that maybe are somehow covered up, or anything like that, that's like a negative frequency, will start being given light. And the way to give light to something negative or dark is to give it light. The dark is overtaken by a little tiny grain of light, and then it will start waking it up, opening it up. It almost looks like a flower that's dried up, and like a little looks like a little drop that goes on it, and the flower starts opening up slowly, and it's almost like reliving or reviving. It's going to give aspirations to those around them who felt turned off by that thing that they had in their life, and it will be uncovered in a way.
Yeah, it's a new awakening. And that's so funny. Right when you were saying all that message, I looked at the time. It's 12:12. I was like, what?
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I had something, but it went. Sorry. They're saying yes to everything. Yes to all the messages. Yes to this and more. Say yes to yourself. Say yes to what's coming. Don't resist the change. Don't resist what you believe is right for you. And don't resist the messages that are coming through to you, because there are messages coming through to, I wouldn't say all of our listeners, but to a lot of our listeners. They're very much connected with themselves, and they're getting messages already. Trust those messages. Trust yourself, and listen to yourself, and make sure that you're elevating. For however tiny that elevation is, keep elevating, keep pushing, keep growing, and trusting yourself. I think trust is a big word that came up during everything that they've channeled through me. But yeah,
Awesome.
I think yeah, the connectedness is also an important part, and that this podcast is only one of many, many, many avenues that they're using to awaken people. So we're just like one little dot in this huge equation.
Yeah, totally. That's part of the grid. A bunch of spots that are awakening other spots. And so, like they said, they're using individuals around the world to help others awaken a little bit better. So that's what that is that you're saying. The podcast is just one of the many, right? But I also thought while you were talking, I was thinking to myself, this is a little sloppy. Like we tried this out for the first time, and we're bombarded with a lot of information. It feels different than if it were an individual person's reading. So this is my first time opening up for a big group of people.
Yeah,
so I'm
too.
feeling a bit bombarded, and I keep losing thoughts and then coming back in, and like waves are
It's
coming
weird,
in and coming
yeah.
out. Yeah. So I said that to myself. I said, "Oh my God, I hope nobody thinks this is too sloppy, or they get annoyed with how we jump in and out." But the master said that it's like all the tools that we've been using, it's practice, and they'll be working with us to get in tuned better with the way the message of the group works. So that's something that our goal for these coming months is to connect better with the group because it's new to us.
And they're saying with ourselves.
Yeah.
The reading with ourselves, like connecting and doing readings together, which is something you've channeled before, but I think that's a big thing that we need to work on as well.
Yes.
Maybe we can try that with some of the listeners. I don't know. Maybe both of us hopping on a call with somebody and offering that to them. Both of us opening their records together. Like that would be pretty insane.
Yeah, I've never done because the idea that we've been talking about is one person. Usually what happens is we get somebody that wants their Akashic records read. They're the ones sitting in front of us. We're opening up their records, and it's just us, one person at a time. But what we're talking about here, in case nobody understands, what we're talking about here is we're both at the same time opening up that one individual's records. They're going to ask the same question, and we're both connected at the time, and we're both channeling information for them. And the masters say that the good thing about that is not because you need two people, but because two individuals can channel the same message with different harmonies. They're saying harmonies. So you harmonize with information in a different way, which means that you can receive it, but some individuals receive some information more detailed and stronger than something else. The other person will receive more detailed and stronger because we both harmonize with information differently. And this goes for every channeler in the world of information. You harmonize with certain things more than others. So if you bring two dual opposite energies to do the same task, in themselves, they will cover every aspect and perspective of that message to a perfect completion almost.
Agreed. Yeah. And I think I think that they're saying a good example is what we just did, even though it's quote unquote a little bit messy in your words.
Sloppy.
It isn't, because what I didn't channel, you channeled, and we complement. It complements each other, and it completes each other, because once one message is completely channeled, the next one comes, and then the next one comes, and then the next one comes. So it's complete, they're saying. It's complete in a different way. Not to say that one person opening up your records won't be complete. It is complete in its own way. But this is different because when you already have the intention of opening somebody's records between two people, so me and you opening someone's records, Akashic records, that already changes the whole dynamic and the whole energy of the reading. So obviously it's great if one person does it. You don't need more than one person, like you said. But if it's two, the whole dynamic changes. So I'm not going to channel everything through me. It'll be complemented within each other.
Yeah.
Which makes total sense.
Yeah. I was just thinking, while you were talking, I was just thinking how proud I was of us for going out of our comfort zone and doing this, because this is like a challenge. This is something new for us, right? And it's a little scary. Sometimes it gets a little scary. You're channeling information for a bunch of people, like that's a little scary. But they're saying that, do you think, this is how they said it to me back, do you think this is a coincidence that you guys recorded, the last episode we recorded was Comfort Zone, the last one we sat down together to do alone was Comfort Zone. Do you think it's a coincidence that you've both decided to come out of that comfort zone to do this episode next? We are also assisting both of you in doing the correct episodes to help you evolve, and the listeners to evolve at the same time. So it's a dual growth of all individuals incorporated into one unity, right?
Yeah, and that's weird because we do have other episodes lined up that we could have done, but we decided not to. And I kept getting this nudge for us to channel information. I felt this need to channel information for everybody for some weird reason. I don't know. It was probably them pushing us to do it. But even when we were getting on the call, there was resistance on your end.
There was resistance on my end.
I was like, let's just try it. Let's just do it. Lucy's like, no, this might not work. I'm like, it's going to work. I know it's going to work. I wouldn't be having this feeling if it wouldn't be giving this task. And even if it doesn't work, that's okay too. Like that, it could not work. And that would be fine. We can do it in a different way. We can find a way around it. But this had to work. There was no way around it. I believe that, at least. I don't know. And I'm sure these messages will get to the people that it has to get to. And the people that need to listen to this episode will listen to the episode. And that's it. That's the way it works, they're saying.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's enough information channeled for now. I just want to say again before we go that thanks for everyone for coming out of your own comfort zone and listening to us, because maybe we'll say some things that might be not aligned with you or out there or new to you. And you're also, if you're new to this, you're coming out of your own comfort zone. You don't have to go and jump off a bridge to say, I'm coming out of my comfort zone. You can just by accepting something else in this world, or something grander, bigger, or something new, you're already coming out of your comfort zone. You're already accepting a new reality, and you're changing things for yourself. That's the first step. Listen, what other realities do exist for other individuals? Let me consider it. And then you can decide, is this going to be part of my life? Am I going to accept it? Is this going to be something I believe in? You could discard it. And the master showed me like the discarding. Or you can accept it and create a new reality for yourself, which might help you be more aligned, or only you know what's best for you. Maybe there's something else, or another podcast or another program or another class that might help you. But accept other realities, says the masters. Accept other realities so that you can create different worlds, and then you can pick and choose which one is part of or more aligned with your plan, with you.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode. We hope you enjoyed it and really resonated with the messages that were coming through from the Akashic Records. This is something new we tried. We weren't sure what was going to happen. We kind of just got out of our comfort zone and trusted that the messages that were going to come through were for everybody, for us, for the podcast, for the listeners. And we really do hope it resonated in some way, and then it might help you kind of start your 2020 on a different note maybe. But I want to quickly apologize before we sign off. With all the technical issues we had the last few episodes have been a bit weird, but this one in particular was strange. That some higher power was doing some strange stuff during the recording, because yeah, we got some weird messages. But yeah, the reason the sound isn't so great, it's because we ended up using the Skype recording. So I just wanted to put that out there, make sure you guys know that that's kind of like, it was something we still wanted to put out. We wanted to make sure you guys got the message, so we still put it up. But yeah, I hope you all have a good week. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and be sure to follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is at soul_tribe_podcast. And yeah, be sure to share these episodes with anyone you think might resonate with the messages, or with just, kind of learning more about the Akashic Records and spirituality in general, right? This the only way we're going to grow, if we all kind of share and we become this grid of light that we were talking about from the masters. But thank you again, and bye everybody. See you next week.